Hello, hello.
Hello, top shareholder is back again.
Back again.
The top shareholder is back again.
Yes.
Listen,
yes,
I just need
yes.
to get to a point now where I have a 95% stake in this. That's all I'm saying.
You know what you need to do though? Like you need to come every week.
Okay, that's fine. I'll take off my 5% share and walk away.
It's
No, I'm
one of
only
those
joking.
ones, you know, like when you're in a meeting, you're like, oh, let me take this away. Come back. You know what?
Yeah.
I love that phrase because I used to be in meetings and like when someone asks you something that you're like, I have no clue what you're asking me or I haven't done this thing. Like, I used to always be like, until someone, you know, one of my mentors in a previous job was just like, when you go to meetings with senior people, make sure that every time you're talking, talk about the progress that has been made since the last time.
Yeah.
If there is no progress, don't mention.
Yeah.
If there are issues that you think you can resolve, don't mention. If they bring it up, just be like, let me take that away and I'll come back to you. Or like, so that helped me so much because now I'm very like, oh, let me take that away. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it'll be more helpful if we have a discussion offline because there are some issues with that, but it's all in hand.
All hands on deck.
And I'm like, oh, ever since I started doing that, I was like, yes.
Yes, look at me.
Yes.
I think that's important, you know, because
Mm.
if there's anything that anyone, especially starting off in the corporate world, that they need to take is that. Because sometimes we want to say a lot of things.
Yeah.
In corporate, you got to say enough.
Yeah.
Don't say a lot.
Yeah.
Just say enough that needs to be said.
Yeah.
My favorite word is revert back to you. That's
Yeah.
me. I'll revert back to you. That's a very interesting. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't quite notice that. Let me revert back to you. I'll have a chat with so-and-so tomorrow morning and set up a meeting with them. But that's very interesting. I'll definitely take that on board.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Make it seem like you're very eager to learn, even if you're not going to apply anything they've just said to you.
I know it's a lot of performance, but sometimes that's actually quite helpful. And I need to make a note of this because I think it'll be helpful to have an episode though where we all can bring in other people as well. Just talk about corporate experiences and learnings because I do think a big part of workplace is culture.
Yeah.
And learning how to navigate that culture.
100%.
And I think especially if you are, maybe if you haven't grown up in the UK, for example, there's some things that you won't really know because there's a lot of diplomatic speak. So sometimes you won't know that this person is actually saying what you've done is not good.
Listen, one of the biggest words that people need to really lock onto is interesting. Interesting will ruin your life without realizing. Oh, is that what you've done? Oh, that's very interesting, isn't it then? Oh, Mary, won't you have a look at it? Isn't this interesting? Listen, interesting will ruin your life.
Yeah.
Because you might think interesting of that Zimbabwean. This is interesting, my friend.
That's the thing. That is so true. It's just like, you know, sometimes it takes you a while. Like, I'll be honest, I've had terrible experiences at work and I've had great experiences. But one of the best experiences was when my line manager was a Greek lady.
Yeah. Very straight up.
Oh my God.
There was no jargon. If it was crap, it was crap. You knew it straight away.
Yeah, even what I just said. Like, she's the one who was like, I remember I was doing this thing and she was like, are you free to have a chat? Like, she's like, what is it? Like, you know. And I remember I said, thank you. Please tell me because this particular thing, like, I'm new to it. I'm learning. I don't get this diplomatic speak. And I'll be honest with you, from that experience, that has helped me so much. And I'm always upfront, like when I'm speaking to people, I'm like, I do not do diplomatic speak.
Yeah.
Please, if something is wrong, tell me. Right?
There's no need for you to tell me it's interesting.
Yeah. If I've got something wrong, please don't tell me 2 weeks later whenever we're having a catch up. Like, don't.
Oh,
like,
and that's
tell
when
me-
you're lucky. When they tell you 2 weeks later having a catch up is when you're lucky.
Yeah.
The worst ones,
Yeah.
the culture of our business is very
Yeah.
terrible. Is during a meeting, be it a board meeting, be it a
Yeah.
team meeting.
Yeah.
In the middle of it, that's when they decide to announce it.
Yeah.
Like, yo, by the way, Brian, what you did here was not so great. As you can
Yeah.
tell, the numbers are not looking great because
Yeah.
Brian did this and that. And it's just like, what?
It's like, no,
You
but
told me it was interesting before.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, just tell me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just tell me. So yeah, I think we need to have this conversation because I also did we introduce ourselves? Anyway, I don't know.
I can't remember.
I can't remember. I hope we did.
Well,
but you're
good
listening.
morning, afternoon, evening.
You're listening to Chat with Nat with me, Natasha. My friends call me Nat, so you can too. And we've got here Brian Lunga, who is the Elon Musk of this podcast.
Wow. Let me start tweeting. Or let me start Xing, whatever it's called.
So yeah, no, because I also sometimes see people. You may not agree with this one.
Yeah.
Right. So I watch what people say online. Oh my God, people at work are not your friends. Oh my God. Just do your job and go home. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, yes, you are right. But you need to be so clever with it.
Oh, you have to be.
Because what's helped me in some instances, right, is just being liked. And I literally know that, right? Because people want to work with people they like
100%.
and they enjoy.
Yeah.
So it's not about you going to every single social, but it's about you going to one or two.
Yeah.
It's not about you sharing everything about your life, but it's just about giving a flavor of who you are, right? Because the thing about people here, my Q here, they just want to figure you out.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all. They just want to have a pic. Okay, what's going on with this person? So once you learn that, and you have to give a little bit, right? So all the little things that people do, like, hey guys, let's do a challenge, the number of steps we walk or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Those things may look like this person, but that person is doing so much for their future career.
100%.
Like, because people will forget like the reports that you analyzed and the write-ups that you did, but they will remember the contribution you made. So I think sometimes, listen, ever since this bill started coming in, I was like, this Twitter advice, this black Twitter advice is not working.
It's not working. I always say, do enough to be seen,
Yeah.
but not enough to be known.
Yeah.
You want to be known in the business, of course.
Yeah.
But when I say not to be known, I'm actually referring to your personal life.
Okay, yeah.
They don't know your personal life,
Yeah.
but they know enough to see you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I am more of, I've navigated it through mystery, of being mysterious enough. You know enough,
Yeah.
but equally you feel like there's more to know, even
Yeah.
if sometimes there isn't.
Yeah.
You know enough, but you feel, no, Brian, what do you think about us catching a drink after work? No, I'm okay, thanks. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Right? It's enough for them to actually be interested in knowing you, but deep down you know that I don't want to give you any more than what you have access to.
Yeah.
So it's a very, corporate is a very interesting space because you want to be, as a black person, I think, you want to be authentic to yourself, but at the same time, it's very difficult to find that authenticity in a world that is very bent in its own way.
Yep.
So, it's very interesting to find it. But once you find your corner and your little niche and how to work with that, it's easy because you just rinse, repeat what you're doing constantly. And yeah. But yeah, this is interesting is a very great phrase. I think people need to con on to that word a lot more. It's rather interesting, isn't it?
There's quite a few. This is interesting. What's the other one where they, and you always have to listen because they do this sandwich thing.
Yeah.
You know what? Really appreciate your effort. really good that, you've taken time to do this.
Oh, that's not good.
So you really, so when you hear effort, I think effort is another
time and
one
time
that you're like, what do you mean effort? Like,
basically your stuff ain't good enough. Your flavor's no flavoring.
like, I appreciate your effort, and then you kind of have to, and then they'll end it with, again, really appreciate your effort. So if you don't clock, you'll be like, oh, okay,
this is good. This guy's really like me. But most of it, it will be just like, this is not good enough.
Yeah. Or when the worst is when they come back and say, oh, I just had a few comments. And then you look at the document and it's all,
it's all red. Never mind a few comments.
And
the whole document just to be rewritten.
You're like, you've literally redone the whole thing. Like, oh my goodness. Let the world open up right now, because what the heck?
Listen, some of these things will have you, they'll have you burning deep down because you wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
And I think the worst thing is that those are the very same people that will tell you about appreciate your effort. But then when they're going to senior management, as they say,
management,
senior management conversations, those are the people that stitch you up. Oh, I'm not quite sure that they're doing a very good job.
See,
after you're telling me about great effort, A+, what?
All the time. Like gosh, you have to. But anyway, I mean, I hope you guys kind of find this helpful, and let us know what your sort of like workplace experiences are. What things have you learned that you think have been helpful in terms of getting ahead? Because at the end of the day, we spend so much time at work, right? So you want, at the very least, to be compensated for it and for it to be a somewhat good experience. But before we get out, I wanted to so I've been like trolling Reddit. It's like one of my guilty pleasures now.
Listen, Reddit is amazing. Reddit. And the best part about Reddit is you can find anything from the most useful thing on earth to the least useful thing on earth.
Listen. So I've got am I the no, I don't like saying am I the bad person, right? In some other areas, I'm a deaconess, so please. Okay, so we've got this one. Just want to get your thoughts, right? So it's called the Out Earner. So this person says, so after 30 years of steady progress, I'm making pretty good money. Like I recently readjusted my 401k, and then there's an editor's note which says this is the equivalent of a pension in the UK. And then they go on to say, so I won't overpay into it this year, and the change in my take-home pay is more than my roommate pays in rent in my sort of low-end ugly house in a poor neighborhood. Okay, so they're making good money. This year they're not overpaying into the pension, which it looks like is what they've been doing. So it means that they've got even more money, right? And then go on to say, both of my roommates and several friends are constantly struggling. I try to help by drastically undercharging on rent. They probably pay half what the going rate is for rooms in my city, and being the one who buys takeout on movie nights, but they still struggle. I pretty much downplay my income and will downplay my available money by pointing out the college expenses I pay for my child and the cost of filling my old junker car with gas. And then they proceed to say, I was hanging out with a friend recently and he asked what I make. I was honest. He called me a jerk and said I was condescending to my friends by acting poor. He was actively angry that I'm faking being poor. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to save up so I have a warm place to go to the bathroom when I'm old. I'm going to charge rent to live in my house. I am going to charge rent to live in my house. It seems wrong to have people live there rent free. I just undercharge. I have no desire to get a fancy new car or show off with a nicer house. I do spend money on travel, but that's rare due to my job needing me. and no one sees how nice I travel. Am I the bad person for acting poor?
You're a terrible human being. If you're so rich, just live on your own. Just live on your own. Just live on your own. Even if it means going to get a little 1-bedroom flat or something, just live on your own.
Yeah.
If you're so rich and everyone else around you is so poor and they're charity cases, just live on your own.
Yeah.
It's not bloody difficult to live on your own.
So
it means then you can't afford even the house you're living in then on your own.
But yeah, because I did wonder like why they've got a roommate. But listen, it's fine because it sounds like if they've got a child who's in college, probably this person is 40s at the least.
So 40s
Or
still
50s.
sharing
Yeah.
a gaff
Yeah.
and then telling everyone else they're poor. Interesting.
So you think they're but then because the friend is saying, oh, you're acting poor. So do you think they're acting poor?
I don't think they're as well off as they think they are. I generally think they're not as well off as they think they are. Because my thing is that if you are now at a point where you think you're very comfortable in your life, then move out of that shared accommodation.
Yeah.
If it's a shared accommodation, if it's your gaff, kick them out.
Yeah.
Or if you're keeping them, just accept that you can't afford to keep the house on your own.
But then is it wrong that they are charging the friend and all that?
No, I mean charging that'll always be the thing, right? If you motivations are key in everything.
Yeah.
If they're coming in
and
they're looking for a place to crash for the next 3-4 months, blah, blah, blah. Yes, charge them a bit of bills, bit of this and that, cool. But if they're actually permanently staying there and the agreement is that they pay rent, fine.
Yeah.
Right? But there's no need to act all high and mighty when you can't afford to keep that house yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's not as well off as she thinks she is. Because if she was very well off,
yeah,
then she would not need the friends to stay with her. She'll be happy on her own, earning her money and doing whatever she's doing.
And that wouldn't invite people being like, oh, you're acting poor because you're just doing things on your own. No one is watching what you're doing.
So yeah, she's a terrible human being. She must be.
I wouldn't go as far as saying terrible.
She's terrible. She's looking down on her friends based on rent that they pay her or whatever the case is when they live in the same place. That's terrible. It's one thing if they were living in different places and you're trying to compare. Even that's terrible on its own. But you're living in the same bloody house and you want to be comparing and telling them you're better off. They're not as great as you. You're amazing. That's terrible behavior.
Not terrible behavior.
She needs to cut all her toenails off.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. No. That's interesting.
Oh, come on. I know we're short of time, but you have one more?
Oh, yeah, I do actually.
Let's have a look. Let's see how many terrible people are out there.
So this one is a bit... Okay. Okay. So it says, am I for being unsociable? Basically, when I was a kid, I wouldn't speak. I might say one word, whisper to my mother, shake my head, but that was about it. Now, I am 18, an official adult. Don't know if you're an adult, but yeah. I can speak to people a bit more in get-together settings like parties and family events. And then say it's usually my worst for speaking. I could maybe say a sentence as long as it's not too long. But other than that, I'd be struggling. So my answers always end up being short or quote unquote rude. I honestly can't understand why it's rude to not want to talk. I'm completely okay with fading into the background and being talked at or anything like that. Why do I need to do the talking? Anyway, my dad told me you're going to have to start speaking eventually. You think you can go through life saying nothing? Just do it. Stop being rude. He's said this throughout my whole life. Literally every single time someone other than my mother and brother was around and spoke to me. When I was 8, it was, you're going to struggle in secondary school if you keep going like this. When I was 14, it was, you're not going to be doing well in your GCSEs if you can't even ask the teacher for help. Then it was the same for A-levels. And now I'm in uni and I'm doing perfectly fine here. I think I've kind of got off topic here. But anyway, is it actually rude? I just want to be quiet, bro. What do you think?
Let's normalize people being people. Let's just normalize it. I think there's nothing wrong with it. I
Yeah.
generally think it's okay to be in your own bubble, and as long as you're not being disrespectful or being rude to people. In fact, being quiet means that you don't have to tell anyone your thoughts.
Yeah.
Because some of them thoughts that we all have, some of them when we're to tell people the truth about our thoughts, boy, ain't nobody going to be able to listen to them. But I think in this case, there's nothing wrong with her being quiet. I just think people need to accept her for who she is.
Yeah.
But she just doesn't want to talk a lot. She's introverted in that way.
Yeah.
Since we love labeling things and labeling people, and we'll throw the word introvert around, but without labeling anybody, I just think she's who she is and she should be okay with that.
Yeah. I agree, but I think it's interesting that, again, maybe I'm diagnosing and I shouldn't, because I'm kind of like, have they looked into like speech therapy and stuff like that? And because I don't know.
But I think because she's aware of it, it's one thing. I think because she's aware of it and that she wants to actually internally be quiet, kind of says it all, that she's happy in her own bubble and nobody seems to be happy that she's in her own bubble. I think we need to normalize that people are very different and they approach things very differently.
That's fair.
It's like when you look at social media nowadays, I think I was looking at something a few days ago and someone said, oh yeah, my husband and I, this is how we do things. And everyone vilified them.
Oh, is it the 50-50? Like, I think I saw something.
No, this one was about they live in different places. Like, And then I read another one about them saying that we don't share the same bedroom. Like we live in different bedrooms in the house and we're happy with it.
Yeah.
And people were vilifying them. What kind of love is that? Let's normalize that people's relationships are different. People's way of doing of things is different.
That's true.
And I think we're very concerned about fitting a mold all the time. That it has to be like this. Love looks like this. No, it doesn't. If it did, then we wouldn't have different experiences of it. It's all different. It's just finding the person or people around you that rally with you.
That's
all it is.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I love the whole living separately.
Listen.
But I always get killed when I share.